America Meditating Radio Show, we collect wisdom, inspire each other, and empower hearts 24/7. Hi, I'm Sister Jenna. Join me and guest on Blog Talk Radio as we amplify stories that compel us to be more for ourselves and everyone else around us.
Blaylock Dialysis Center is a convenient state-of-the-art dialysis center in the Houston area, run by Dr. Panakin Patel. Relax in a comfortable environment while receiving quality care. Serving adults 18 to geriatrics, we are here to help you. Call 713-463-6611 for more information or visit us at our website at www.blaylockdialysiscenter.com. Blaylock Dialysis Center, where helping you get well is our priority.
Do you like to meditate? Have you tried to meditate? Have you struggled with meditation? Why don't you visit one of the Brahma Kumaris Meditation Center? Visit brahmakumaris.org.
Hi, I'm Angela Peabody of Global Woman Peace Foundation, and I listen to America's Meditating Radio Show.
In this moment, everything shows up, everything presents itself just as is. And when you slow down, let it all happen. Something fantastic, magic happens in you. And when you breathe in, it's like we're all listening to an echoing of our own soul. Like a rain cloud, relief it comes pouring down on a thirsty world. Meditation is a medication to cure the illusion of a separation. Meditation is a medication to cure the separation. To a mind that still becomes a cup that's filled with effervescence, ever-presence, and a heart that swells. And when you drink from this to never-ending peacefulness, don't have to believe in this. It's a story that tells itself. And when you breathe in, it's like we're all listening to an echoing of our own soul. Comes pouring down
hello, everyone, and welcome to America Meditating Radio. That was Bob-Sima, who we're going to be having a heart-to-heart conversation with and learn more about his work in life. But what a beautiful song that was. Meditation is the medication that's going to cure us from the separation. And I'm hoping that you all have had a chance to read my latest article in HuffPost. It's focused on the World Post section of Huffington Post, seeing past the illusion of separation as my offering and sharing of the bombings that took place in Istanbul or at the Istanbul airport. And how many of these have we lived through? And what is behind all of this? You know, what is really behind this act of violence where the intensity of the vices inside of our own minds have detonated, and it's reached a point where we can't keep the explosion even within ourselves. It's as if we're compelled to bring it outside of ourselves. And why I say we is, you know, any attack on any one of our brothers and sisters, we're all God's children. And if you do me wrong or I do you wrong, we're all in this together. It's not you did that to that person or that's the group that's to be blamed for this terrorist attack. Yes, for the records of how to go find whoever's behind it to see how we can try to understand what is it, what are you going through, what are you feeling? Is someone paying you to do this? Why are they paying you to do this? Why did you think, you know, doing this was more important than finding another route or another method? And so I think we're at one of the most profound times of consciousness, perhaps than we ever have been before. I believe that we are in a cycle. And within a cycle, there are 4 stages or 4 ages. We all start off pure, pristine, golden, and silver, you know, the process. But then after half of that period passes through us as a feeling, as a consciousness, it goes into this state of where my gold or my silver gets mixed. It becomes copper or bronze. And then when that gets used up and just time takes its toll, it becomes iron. And it's just like, there aren't those virtues and qualities that we first came into the story with, the love, the unity, the oneness, the wisdom, the care, the divinity. That's like seeped out of the soul. And we are constantly extending ourselves to find something to fulfill something on the inside. I have so many incredible conversations with folks, and just recently I was talking to someone in the Middle East, and they were basically sharing with me that they don't need someone to complete them. And it just made me start to even think more. You know how we have these conversations with each other, and while I'm sharing stuff with you, you're also thinking your own story at the same time. But even as she shared that with me, I was thinking, yeah, because until we have an intimate relationship with ourselves, and let me please decode intimacy in my language, it is where you have attention on the self as a soul, something very subtle. It cannot be abused or it cannot be treated in a very harsh way. So that means if I'm living my truth, if I'm in my spiritual identity of the self, the soul, and the soul is made up of love and peace and purity and wisdom and softness and gentleness, that means the proof that I'm having an intimate relationship with myself is that I treat myself very gently. I carry myself gently. I live myself in a gentle way. And folks just might acknowledge in the future that there is something called a gentle power, rather than a forceful power which intimidates, emotes fear, creates insecurity. Then people start to become greedy, and then they feel like no one's there for them, and so they only look out for themselves to try to find security. Then we get all of this separation and imbalance. Do you hear what I'm trying to convey here? And so we are being called at this time. We are being ushered through this age where we need to think for ourselves now. And I believe that if we think for ourselves rather than just what someone has told me to think or what I've read to think, I believe we'll all come to maybe the similar conclusion of what I'm sharing. that we all come from the same source. We all come from God, the energy of light, and that we are good by nature. So anything or any is a sign that I've lost my power to be intimate with myself or to know who I am or what I am. And so I want to leave that to all of you to percolate on and contemplate on a little bit, because it's an important time, and I don't think that we should remain sleeping when so much is going on, when we're witnessing so much in the world today. So let us take a moment and pause for a little meditation, and before we get bob-sima on the air, and take a deep breath, relax, and breathe. Feeling safe. Taking just a minute. Like a tortoise, I move into the safety of my inner world and experience a world free from distractions. I feel secure, protected, knowing that I am true to myself. I experience my true value, independent of the influence of others. I now gently step back into my surroundings. Beautiful. That was from the Just a Minute Meditation CD by Sister Jenna called Feeling Safe. You're listening to America Meditating Radio, and I'm your host, Sister Jenna, feeling a little bit very calm and somber because I've been sending a lot of pure wishes to Istanbul, but to all of us in the world. Again, this isn't an issue halfway across our country. This is our issue. This is everyone's issue. No one should be subjugated to pain and suffering, but it's a very big part of our story now, which means we're being called to rise our own awareness so that we can end this global plague called pain and sorrow. We're very proud to welcome bob-sima, who is a nationally touring singer-songwriter based in Annapolis, my hometown, right across the road. As a spiritual teacher, he introduces breathwork as a means to regain optimum health, relieve stress, restore balance, and deepen spiritual connection. Bob leads and facilitates breathwork workshops and meditations and integrates his teachings into retreats. He has shared stages with our friends Marianne Williamson, Gay Hendricks, Jack Kornfield, and so many other luminaries. The award-winning singer-songwriter has a gift for creating 21st century songs infused with universal truths of ancient wisdom and modern spiritual teachers. His new CD is entitled It's Time, and today we're proud to welcome bob-sima to the America Meditating Radio. Hi, my sweet brother.
Hi, my sweet sister. How are you?
Good, good. It's so nice to be speaking to the Eckhart Tolle with a guitar.
Thank you. It's good to be speaking with you as well. I want to say that we call myself Sima, and so we just wanted to make you aware of that.
Thank you so much. I will. How did you become a powerful messenger where your music is concerned? Because we have so many choices in how we use our talents, and sometimes a talent that sells millions of records in 30 seconds, which I've heard with Adele and Alanis Morissette with her, Jagged Little Pill or Ironic. But then you've got songs that are basically helping us to empower our lives. What was it that made you choose to use your talent to be more of an upliftment?
Well, a good question. I think it more or less chose me. I was listening to an interview with Jean Houston, and she was being interviewed, I think it was on an Oprah show, maybe one of her new shows, and she asked Jean what the soul is, and Jean said a few things that were interesting, and then all of a sudden just something popped out of her. She said, it's the lure of your becoming. The lure of your becoming, and I just stopped in my tracks. And so when you asked me that question, it made me think of that. I think this thing has just been luring me all along, and when I've been able to open up to it fully, which is just in the last few years, it has expressed itself and at a high volume. It was always a low volume before when I kind of put it on the side and made it my little side project. But when I listened to that lore and let it fully speak through me, the volume is it's all the way up now. So I think that's the best way to describe how I've come into what I'm doing right now.
One day we were at a department store, and Sister Gita, who sometimes co-hosts the show with me, stopped and was watching a video with Michael Jackson performing in Romania. I left her there by herself watching this video, came back about maybe 15, 20 minutes later, and there were 20 people around her dancing, the moonwalk or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And I saw how impactful music, entertainment, I don't know what it was that touched her and touched everyone else in terms of what that moment meant for them. But music is huge. Music is huge. And if I were to ask you what your mission is for your music, would you be able to let myself and our fans know about that?
The short answer is basically I think there's a quote by Pablo Neruda, I want to do with you what the spring does to the cherry tree. Yeah, I want to do it to you what the spring does to the cherry tree. That's really it. And what the spring does to the cherry tree is basically brings out its blossoms. It brings out what it is. And, maybe over the winter, cherry tree, maybe, I'm not saying it forgets, but maybe it forgets what it is because it goes dormant and goes quiet and goes still and all that. We know it doesn't because, it's not us. We're the only ones that do that. So it goes dormant, goes quiet. So it's just, and I don't want to use the word awaken because it's overused. I mean, sure, why not use the word awaken? But there's something that happens when you are touched by a piece of music. Number one, it lights up part of your brain. I mean, Ilchi Lee, the great yogi, talks about this in one of his books that I read. Music will light up part of the brain, a big part of the brain. They tested this. They've studied this in the lab. Now, music with a message, with a affirming, message that reminds you of what you are and who you are and why you're here. I mean, lights up the whole brain. And when I read that, I thought, wow. I mean, that makes perfect sense as to why I'm so drawn to do this. I can't write a song unless it has some gift in words. Probably less of a musician than, I don't read music at all. I don't study music. I just literally play around with it. Just use the sound. You know what I mean? So, So my mission is to do what the spring does to the cherry tree to each and every heart that's willing to listen.
You'd be a hoot in an orchestra.
Oh, yeah. That would be a good one. Who brought this guy up here? What's he doing?
What are your thoughts about, current music? You've got hip-hop, rap, R&B, all these different genres. I mean, the same genres that we had for a long time, but the way that now it's being presented to the masses. Do you ever listen to music that tends to be very non-meditative? And if so, what are your thoughts about that? What do you think it's offering our world?
I think anything that's in the mainstream can be a little dicey. It can be a little tricky because, anything that's being served up through the mainstream and, on a massive scale, it generally has a little bit maybe of a manipulation behind it. It's fueling something that is it's almost like the car where you can't sort of not watch when you drive by. It's just sort of it's fueling that side of humanity. So I don't listen to a whole lot of the mainstream music, but I can tell you that I do hear things. I hear beauty in the middle of things, and I hear people trying to come out and say these things. And I think they draw back, like Marianne Williamson said, you're more afraid of your lightness than your dark. So I think it scares people. Oh, I don't know if I want to become like a preacher or somebody preacher, But then you hear little bits and pieces of it in their messages. And then I hear other songs that really are just, I just want to find out, why did you write that song? What, in the idea with video games and violent video games, I just want to go up to the people who put those out and say, why? Like, what, really? Like, why? It's just not necessary. So, on the other side, I think there's a lot of musicians and people that maybe aren't even musicians that just have a message, that are doing spoken word, and they're doing just different deliveries of art that are starting to speak. The Macklemore, who's a rap artist who won a Grammy, I don't know, a couple of years ago. I bought his CD for my son, who was 12 at the time, and I didn't know. I just, I heard the song, and I was actually in a record store, believe it or not, in a mall, and I heard the song come on, Same Love, I think it's called, and I just stopped in my tracks, and I'm like, this guy knows what he's talking about. I was getting chills. I walked over, I said, I'll buy this, and I'll take it, and I brought it home. I gave it to Luke, and he opened it up, and we listened to it, and it was F this and F that, and I was like, okay, that's okay, just get past it. But there were 3 or 4 songs on there that were totally transformational, and so
wow.
I think it's coming through, my sister. I think it's coming through. I think, as you said in the prelude to the show, you were talking about the change is coming, the light is coming.
Yeah,
I think there's pockets of it, and it's wanting to come out. It's like birthing, It's like
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So.
I think God's light is actually here, and I think that many of us are picking that up and are doing work like what you're doing, I'm doing, Marion, and so many others, and it's rippling. It's like the butterfly effect. Whatever a butterfly, when they flap their wings here, on the other island, they're going to start to do the same thing. So. Because the work that we're in, where it's introspective and silent and subtle, then it takes a little bit of a longer time for it to be visibly obvious. Like, it's going to take time for people to recognize that the change has come, because we're so much more influenced by the density of consciousness that we're witnessing today, which is a huge marketing tool to put a lot of dollars in a lot of people's pockets so that they can fulfill their short-term desires. And so I think that as we grow in our own lives, and I don't know about you, but sometimes you start something out and, you're really into making sure people hear it, get this, and then you kind of do it after a year or 2 years or 4 years or 7 years, and you're like, this isn't me. And then you start to realize that maybe what you were running after is some idol worshiping of something that really isn't real. But what you're really here to do is to fulfill your call, your purpose, your meaning, your God-given self. So I understand that you hold quite a considerable amount of gratitude concerts. And I would love that you tell us a little bit more about how that began, and do you have one coming up soon, and when are you going to do one for the Meditation Museum?
Oh, love to do that. I'm trying to think of how it started. I think it just started because I was trying to remember. You know how you do things and then you don't remember how you even started doing it. But it was just like, I think I was in a city and I was just sitting around like on a Monday, and I give a lot. I give everything I have when I go to a city and play songs and lead meditations and do breath work and whatever I'm doing. So it's not like I'm just taking, but, I'm sitting there and I've got, the income that I've received and so much gratitude in my heart. I thought, what about the people that couldn't get here? What about those people? I'm not really singing to the choir, but I do a lot of spiritual centers and yoga centers and all. How do I do it? So I think that was what started it in my heart. And so I've done homeless shelters, schools for kids who are, emotionally disabled and whatever the word would that be. But it was just this big school for these poor kids, and they needed some music. And I played in a maximum security prison up in upstate New York, the oldest prison in the United States. So it's very fulfilling. I just do it to give back. And sometimes those are the best events I ever do. If there's 4 people sitting in front of me and, 2 of them, break into tears, and you see something crack open in them, you just go, thank you, God, for putting me in front of these people, and thank you for showing me that I can do this. And so, and then the next one I have is Wednesday next week. I play once a month at this center in Annapolis that offers alternative treatments to cancer patients and their caregivers. So it's Reiki, it's energy work, it's, I do breath work, I do meditation, I do song circles. So that's the next one. And the one at the museum is still being scheduled right now as we're talking. Would absolutely love to do that, and totally
great.
honored to do that. Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Well, bob-sima, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the air and sharing with us just your goodness of spirit. The more we get to ripple out this vibration in ourselves and in our world, and I just know that golden age is coming, and all of the stuff that we're seeing in Istanbul and Orlando and elsewhere, it has to happen for us to turn inward deep enough to get back to that very intimate place of the soul. So I want to thank you for the gift that you're offering our planet. Before I let you go, share with us your best vision for yourself that would make the world a better place.
I mean, my best vision for the world or for myself?
For yourself, because wherever you're coming from within you, it's going to make the world a better place.
Yeah. Well, my vision, my best intention for myself is to continue to allow the quiet memory of God to rest upon me, because I tend to be very driven, and not in a negative way, but just I want to become still more often, and I want to allow the quiet memory of God to flow through me, so that I can sing the words and the tones and the intentions of the divine for the people who need it. That's my vision. Beautiful.
Where can we find more information about you and your work?
bob-sima.com, bob-sima.com is my website, and we'd love to hear from people who've been on listening to these shows and whatnot, so that we know we connected. But we travel all over the country. If you're interested in bringing this music or the breathwork teachings or the meditations to your town, there's an easy way to get in touch with us. And thank you for the work you do, because this is so powerful, and you're so sweet and powerful, and at the same time. And I can't wait to meet you in person someday.
Ditto. All the very best, and hope to see you soon.
Okay. Namaste.
Take care. Bye-bye. You don't have to go to a college or school to learn all of this. You can just step from within your being, come from that place. I swear to you, listen. Listen to God's touchings. Listen to His energy. Listen to be silent. Be silent. Pause. Make your choice. My conversation with bob-sima reminded me of just why we decided to do Meditate the Vote. The campaign we started in May, and we will be moving up until at least November 8th and beyond. And what we're realizing, because we're tweaking it as we're going along, it was really for us to really be more contemplative, to strengthen ourselves as a people, despite whoever's going to go into office. And as we go deeper into who and what Meditate the Vote is, we're realizing, but you have to answer your whys, like, why did you do what you did? Why didn't you do what you were supposed to do? And find a choice that would make you feel comfortable on the inside. Do you hear me? When you participate in Meditate the Vote, you're choosing to be comfortable with your own spirit. Because if we're not comfortable with our spirit, we're going to get angry. We're going to keep reaching outside of ourselves. We're going to think that we're better than the other person by separating our own likes or dislikes, or looking in the mirror and deciding if I'm good-looking or ugly, short, tall, rich, poor, black, white, Jewish, Islam, Christian, non-Christian, Indian. It's just goes on, and it's tiring. It's such a tiring narrative. And so when we talk about love, and we talk about unity, and we talk about respect, and we talk about forgiveness, and we talk about God, and what's all of that saying? It's saying to go back inwards. Close your eyes. All your answers are behind your eyes. It's not outside of you. You were listening to America Meditating Radio. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation today. I know I did. Remember to join us on Meditate the Vote movement, and we would love to hear your feedback on the America Meditating Facebook. Remember, no one can take away your happiness, absolutely nobody. unless you give them permission. And we are here to love each other the same. And so we're going to end today's beautiful conversation by our friend Kristen Hoffman. This one is entitled Between the Veils. Take care, everyone.
like a shockwave straight through your heart, wanting you back.